the whole sidetrack issue about engineering is the way you try to sell this idea as a feasible idea. Um,
Okay, look,
and
you're having a framing reaction to that word. Engineering, so put it on an advert. It's a positive word. No, I'm using it for its technical. Yeah, it's positive because but I'm using it for the technical reason it's positive, which is that it means you're planning and thinking about what you're doing instead of just relying on invisible hands and planning for chaos.
it's really an aside and an objection to the framing and the terminology, because it's a negation of standard thought about the pros and cons of market solutions versus planned solutions, and you're not even admitting.
Well, that's just ridiculous. It's like overall, it's first of all, a market is planned. A market has regulations that define it. It doesn't exist without a plan. What exists without any plan in terms of economy is, exploration and discovery, and might makes right in the state of nature. Okay, so you keep opposing market contribution to the way the system works, with against planning, like they're opposites. No, and my commissary idea obviously still includes a market. Through the resource management, they go to a not-for-profit market, the market itself, and the goods still, well, and the goods also can be not-for-profit or for-profit. But even in the not-for-profit, people make a living off of it. They profit from it. It's just that the extra cream doesn't go to the investors. It just goes back into the company to pay employees. Um,
Those criticisms. Well, I'm sure, yeah, but the point is your system, your proposed system, will suffer them, and you're seeming to want to turn a blind eye to it with appeals to.
okay, I would like a specific example of what it would suffer from, because the example you gave so far is that some bureaucrat won't know what won't know what kind of pen you want. But my system had nothing to do with that. In terms of me being able to buy those government products, those bureaucrats are still specifying what they need for the jobs they have to do and how money they want, trying to get whatever is reasonable there. Then companies, can bid and explain how much it's going to cost. And then it's set. That's between a two-party thing. The fact that I want in on it is just because I'm a part of the government. I already think I am in on it. And so uh, it fails as an example of how planned economy falls, from the fact that, well, they don't know you know, what's wanted.
How great humans are at engineering and sorting things out.
Oh yeah, and I forgot. And so with the commissary idea, what's wanted by that is a market for still. The pensioners go in there, what you could see what they buy and do statistics on it.
Look, we run the military. Um, you know, we're, like I said, there's certain pragmatic reasons which accompany certain things.
I never said we run it all like the military, just because I used the word commissary. Okay, that doesn't mean I said we should have the whole system of the military. I never said anything about medical, or I specifically point out I'm not talking about GI benefits. The fact is, it's a good word to use because it's a good metaphor and almost a literary thing of people know what I'm talking about. With the commissary, you have government supplies you can buy, and you have subsidized goods. Um, Again, to help people that are living on a more fixed budget than what they get in the free market.
Where it does turn out that a planned system is probably the best way for economies of size and issues of national security and certain value judgments that we can't trust.
So economies of size. So, for example, the fact that there are so many retirees actually is what would ensure that the commissary thing was doable, because it would take a big market, a big group of people that would be using it.
To a market, not even a regulated market, perhaps. You want to say I am engineering, I'm regulating. I don't believe.
Wait, what are you regulating? You know, the money is an invention. Just because it was done thousands of years ago, you want to pretend that it's not an invention, like backgammon's hundreds or thousands of years old, so it's not really a game. It's a fruit. It's a living. What is? It's just a stone. It's just naturally occurring. Look, it's an invented system. Okay, you want to regulate a system that is invented over thousands of years and act like there are no principles of its invention, that we can't abstract how it was made, why it was made, what it is accomplishing, which parts of it are backed up, which parts serve certain interests and not the majority interests. You know, that's our really main dispute, is that you think that if you change, you know, the amount of taxes on a particular product, that that makes you unconventional, not for the conventional system. And yet when I said we need to change the system, you're like, no, well, the system is de facto. It is here. It could be described. It has a design, even if the design was accidental, which is plenty of intentionality in it. It still exists. And you're saying you don't want to engineer because you just want to leave it the way it was already engineered. But in a discussion about design, advocating for the current engineering is engineering. And you have to say why it's engineered better than something else. And if you say, well, because we never looked there, then you don't know if it's engineered better. You have to look there first and figure out a way to compare it. If you say, well, there's no way to compare better, then you have that element, and that will apply to parts of it. But just to make a blanket statement that, well, it's engineering, so it's shown in history to be wrong, no, it kind of matters how you engineer something, right? There's bad engineering philosophies, good ones, and mostly a bunch of good ones that have their strengths and weaknesses, and they're bad as well. Let's see if I have any more time. Yeah.
From a certain point of view, yeah, you can say it is, but it's not the best choice of words to say that regulation is engineering. If you think so, then we can agree to differ on that.
Well, I would say that regulation is the kind of thing, it's a configuration. Usually, but it does involve engineering, but, you know, we talk about the engineering as the basic framework, the skeleton of the structure. And you have parts that are adjustable. You can adjust things back and forth. A regulation is like an adjustment. What sort of regulations you can do in a system depends on its design and whether the design is implemented successfully through, you know, all the actual engineering and construction process. You know, so you deal with a lot of problems like that. But basically that's how it's going to be. So if you want to design a new system, you're going to be maybe changing around where you can regulate. I mean, the commissary idea is saying we could regulate the prices for the people that we're regulating their income for, right? Since the income's meant to buy these basic necessities, why not do that as well?
Ciao.
Ciao. Okay.